Alright, we're back with more Super Robot Wars. I left some notes to myself last time. Hey, thank you, Erm. Appreciate that. Go ahead and carry on with the battle here. Very Yule to you as well. I still want to let them all come to me if possible here. So I'll let it play out here. See why they called him Super. I don't think anyone else can attack. Where I'm currently standing, anyway. Yeah, this game is like Smash Brothers, but for giant robots. And a tactical RPG instead of a brawler. Interesting, I feel like tactical RPGs have been associated with giant robots since like the early 90s, if not longer than that. I don't know why they landed that on that as like the format for this anime genre. Who hasn't acted yet? Oh. Get out of here. Pretty big hit there. Franchise is this guy from again? Oh, he's just a Gundam. Okay. Classic Gundam, I guess. Shoot down. Yeah, okay, I'll take a bunch of level ups, that's fine. They hit whichever ones are as far away as possible, since I don't think anyone else is going to be able to reach them here. Well, that was really bad. Okay, be more careful with that, I guess. Great Typhoon. 76%. Guarantees my accuracy. Use it, it's fine. But plenty of resources to spare there. Really? When was the first front mission? This is Super Robot Wars 30. That means that Super Robot Wars has been going on at least since 1991, right? Which seems like a long time to have like an all-star franchise. Giant robots feel within reach. Oh. I feel like the problem is that they don't seem very like, it's the Metal Gear Solid joke, right? Like, oh, there's no better platform for launching a nuclear strike than a bipedal walking tank. Like, really? It seems like a nuclear submarine is better in almost every conceivable fashion. Giving it legs kind of seems like it, you know, makes it significantly worse. I definitely understand it from like a rule of cool factor. Like, wouldn't it be cool if there were people walking around in human-sized bipedal mechs? But isn't that cooler than just like ships? The answer is yes. It is cooler than ships. Yeah, I feel like that the whole point of that, I see that scene as like, oh, she's using like construction technology to do something, right? And it gets kind of weird that later Alien games bring back the whole, oh, that mech is like a combat thing. It's like somebody's using that to like haul boxes around, and they're supposed to be like, you know, blue collar space truckers. So it's kind of cool to use that technology in a way that's not really intended. Forklift, exactly. Now, this game's called Super Robot Wars 30 because it's a 30-year-old franchise. Like, giant robots as a medium have been, or as a genre, I guess, have been so saturated that they were able to do a All-Stars Robot series in 1991. Pretty crazy. Saturation isn't necessarily a bad thing, right? Like, superhero movies are saturated, westerns are saturated. I like those just fine. Fine. Super defense critical. I'll turn the animation on for this character and then just unlocking them. I've been spending this entire 8 hours of Super Robot Wars 30 trying to get my head inside the mind of, like, a giant robot fan. Gotten a couple interesting YouTube comments trying to give some more context on it. One pointed out that the reason why Gridman is one of the only ones in this game that feels like it has any kind of identity is that it's being introduced in this game, and that you're assumed to have basically played all the other Super Robot Wars, so we don't need to, like, thoroughly introduce what makes these other franchises distinct from one another, because we already did that in one of the other, you know, dozen or so Super Robot Wars games, so that makes sense. I guess, like, Build Tiger is a construction robot. I still kind of wish that this more took the like approach of something like Smash Brothers Brawl Subspace Emissaries story, which is still really cool and still kind of feels like somebody like, you know, playing with their toys and having, I don't know, their He-Man toy fight their Ninja Turtles toy or something like that. Like that, I feel like that's the fantasy of something like this, but something like Subspace Emissary, I feel like is a lot more efficient in doing that. Or even like the format of Smash Brothers Ultimate Story Mode, which wasn't really a story, right? Actually, I feel like Smash Ultimate probably did one of the best jobs in like any of the games of making it feel like you're having your toys fight each other, right? By having all the little battles that were like meant to be reminiscent of, they're like using creativity to like say, okay, in this, imagine that King K. Rool is actually a big lizard monster from a Zelda game or something, right? Even though we don't have the Lizalfos as the playable enemy, we're going to describe the scenario creatively as Link is fighting 3 Lizalfoses, but he's actually fighting 3 King K. Rools. I thought that was cool. I'm open to the idea that I don't see the like distinction between a lot of these series because it was covered in a previous Super Robot Wars game. The only one that feels like super unique is Gridman. I guess the Jay Decker, the one where like the robot's like a cop and is controlled by like a 6-year-old detective or whatever, that's a little different. And I suppose you could say the same thing for like Westerns. Like, what's the difference between any 2 Westerns? Well, it's complicated. You just kind of eyeball them. There doesn't seem to be a lot. Oh, I would explain it. Yeah, it's unusual to have such a big fandom that I have very little, like, even just kind of awareness of through cultural osmosis, right? I know what Gundam is. I can grok the idea of someone is in a human-sized mech and going around with guns and swords and stuff in space. That's cool. I don't hate it. Yeah, I suppose. But even comparing to something like Super Smash Brothers, right? Like, suppose you play Super Smash Brothers and it's your first video game. You've, like, you know, never heard of Metroid or Zelda or Mario or whatever. I feel like you would still kind of see some pretty significant distinction between most of the cast. We have family visiting this weekend, and I was explaining to my brother-in-law that, like, what this game is like, and he was like, oh, so it's like Smash Brothers if it was only Fire Emblem characters. And I said, exactly, that is exactly what this game feels like. It's only Fire Emblem characters and you've never played Fire Emblem before. Absolutely. Except for Gridman. Gridman's cool. Gridman feels pretty different. He's still a robot, a giant robot man. Switch back to turning animations off in a second. I love the triple X for the 30th anniversary on his robot. Makes it really hard to Google that robot. I was trying to show my brother-in-law, so I Googled XXX robot, and oops. Gridman Jay Decker. Was Jay Decker like an actual new robot show, or is it been around for a long time and it's only being like brought into the fold with this game? shield defense. Okay, so they're bringing it into the fold much later. Gotcha. Yeah, the animation style and like the story style definitely felt. I have to think if I've encountered a comparable genre where it's like there's this entire genre around something that seems really specific, right? Like, I guess Western movies are kind of specific, but there's a lot of like little niches you can carve out in that space. Like, you know, are we talking about bounty hunters? Are we talking about settlers, right? Like, I'm sure you get similar distinctions with Super Robot stuff when you're more familiar with it. But at the end of the day, it always, like, in my head, my picture of what a giant robot anime is there's like a military, and the military pilots these human-sized anthropomorphic robots. Well, not human-sized. They have to be giant, right? That's important. We can't have normal-sized robots, otherwise it wouldn't be part of the genre. But they're usually in the military. They're usually in space. It feels like. Deadwood, Trinity, and Bonanza. There are a series of normal-sized robots. Interesting. They would still fall under the umbrella of giant robots. Maybe super robots is a better genre descriptor. Maybe overkill whichever one I do here. Even thinking about just like Western, not like the genre Western, but like something not made in Japan that's inspired by robot fiction. Like, I'm not like a huge Pacific Rim fan, but Pacific Rim has like the interesting setting distinction that, oh, there's like have to be two people that are piloting these things, right? And like they have to have like a special bond. They're like psychically linked. And also they're like specifically dealing with this monster invasion from underneath the ocean. That feels like it just has more staying power than it's another like giant robot space military, which is what just about everything else I've encountered feels like. But again, that's probably just due to lack of familiarity. You get Western deconstruction when you get pretty late in there, like the Dollars trilogy. That's like after Westerns are already completely saturated. So now we're kind of doing like meta Westerns. Pacific Rim got that from Better Man. I'd buy it. It could also be that this game isn't the best representation of the distinctions between the properties. Maybe this game is more interested in like what the robots physically look like, or what their music sounds like, or like what the like big characters' personalities are like, right? As opposed to like what are the big setting distinctions. Tell him. That's why they call them super. Cannon welding is an interesting way to put it. I wonder if they're just doing that because that's the way they did it originally and they can't get away from it. Because, like, Smash Brothers doesn't do that. You know, Smash Brothers is like, everybody has their own canon, or their own stories or whatever. He's good. Really good. That guy's nuts. Can't just force that kind of talent. There, it's like somebody ripped all these people out from their own separate universes to deal with this problem, right? Which actually seems pretty common in, like, most crossover media. It seems like Super Robot Wars sets out to say, no, all these properties exist in the same universe. They didn't, like, get pulled out of their universe. There's not, like multiverse stuff happening, right? So it's really weird because it's like implied that all of the events of all of the series have happened or are going to occur in the course of the game, right? It's like Kingdom Hearts is even, yeah, there's like these different worlds that are kind of colliding or whatever. But you go to the worlds and like when you get there, you play out the important events from the Disney movie being featured. But what if instead of like physically going to like Aladdin world, you go to Agrabah? It was implied that Agrabah is just like in the same space and time as Little Mermaid, and then like having to force those to align with each other. How can we simultaneously have like WALL-E and Cinderella? I think I'd probably like it better if it was like the multiverse approach of there's some, I don't know, catastrophe that's sucking all of these people into the same space together. I think they have to like smooth everything out too much in order to make it all fit as though it was all happening in the same world. Not even remotely worried about upholding an image. Those guys have been friends ever since the 1 Year War. See, you're alive too. Leave the vendettas at the door. Starting to get a little bit crazy. We have a lot of characters on this ship now. I hear like spiritual voices? Mission Ace. Okay, keep upgrading Shadow Maru because I feel like he's really ridiculously powerful compared to everybody else. The weapon upgrades weren't so expensive. Have any like thing here that I can build? One of these required something that I AOS research in the lab. Oh, I need 50 more points. Okay, I'll just wait. A good way to describe this game is that it's very extra in almost every respect. Mysterious man appears before Ryoma. A new getter ray powered battle begins. The volume of text is extra, the animations are extra, although I think that's part of the point, is enjoying the fun robot animations. Demons? The heroes who beat the invaders during the lunar conflict? Tell me about the lunar conflict. I think I've seen this before. It took place on the moon. I don't know what I was expecting there. They are demons. Kind of cool if you had demon robots, but I think they're using demon in like a metaphorical sense. Even the other demons of hell cringe at how violent he is. Wait, are they actually demons? I can't tell. What property is this? Dinosaurs, okay. I guess like Transformers are, you know, brand of giant robot fiction, but their whole thing is that they turn into other stuff, whether that's animals or cars or whatever. I guess some of these properties have like, they do like some morphing. I have a couple robots that look like they're built of like 5 other smaller robots. Sort by strength. Already done? Okay, yes. Sounds good. Their pitch is Transformers series. Okay, that makes more sense. J. Decker turns into a cop car. Only an overwhelming display of force will restore order to this region. If the enemy force seems like a pushover, try farming kills for your favorite characters, or using units you don't normally use. You can't just say that out loud. I think I'm actually gonna let them come to me. I'm trying to move everybody next to each other, I suppose. Everyone gets like gigantic bonuses for being adjacent to allies, right? Because of support defense and support attack actions. Does it have to say support next to them for that to trigger? Does that mean they have the little feat or whatever that enables that skill, I guess? Robot Wars is a licensing nightmare, that doesn't surprise me. None of y'all can reach right now. Probably reach if I move them forward together. That was pretty cool. I like the chibi aesthetic for most of these robots, but it's weird how they don't just do new art for every individual robot. Some of them look like they're using like a flat sprite from a past game or something. I'm guessing that's also due to licensing issues. Any of them where it feels like they had to make a new model for this game, they look really good. Beam sword. So like this one's like fully articulated because it's unique to this game. Makes sense. There's I'll point it out, but there's one robot in particular where like the image looks like it's like been stretched. You can like see like artifacting on it. They don't even have it in the native resolution for the game. It's another thing I think Smash Brothers does amazingly well, like without making any effort to standardize the appearance of fighters in that game. They've done a good job of making them all feel like they like fit on the battlefield, even if they look really different. The artist's way of doing that mech, let's see. I can't even really describe why like Steve from Minecraft looks good next to, I don't know, Tekken character, next to Mario, next to Samus. Like that shouldn't look fine, and it actually looks really good, even though they all definitely have their own art styles, and music is a huge fee. Nice crit. Well, that doesn't help me very much. Nice support defend. I think it's telling that pop-up that was like, hints, when you have easy enemies, fight them with your favorite robots, right? Or like maybe that's what they're going for here, is like, we're going to give you so many franchises that you can eventually assemble a team of the robots from the franchises you like the most, right? And here's a mission to catch up any of the weaker ones. Ships generally can't evade at all, you see. We get more, right? Beds are here. A monster? No, just the regular kind. Well, this guy looks different. Ryoma. People have some fucking crazy scarves in this universe. Literally nagging me. So we're referencing the other characters that presumably don't appear in this. So does the series that Amuro is from actually intersect with the series that Ryoma's from? Or is it just like Super Robot Wars canon that they know each other? Oh, who's this guy? Looks very angry. I see. Such a crazy decision to commit to and never bail from. Like I said, it's like if Kingdom Hearts just assumed that every Disney movie happened in the same universe. And they like tried to make sense of that. Like what the... Yeah, Tron totally happened at the same time even, right? I feel like there's like... I guess they saved themselves from some of like the temporal questions, right? Because the fact that there are giant robots means that all of these series presumably take place at least in Earth's future. Or am I wrong? Is there like a prehistoric giant robots show, or like a, I don't know, samurai era giant robots show, where they just have giant robots for no reason? That would actually be kind of sweet. It's ancient Greece, but they have giant robots now. Sakura Wars is in the 1920s. Really? Okay, that's kind of cool. Alternate history kind of thing. Ooh. Go! Robot's pretty cool looking too. Is it rat robots? What the fuck? Y'all gotta get used to robots coming out of nowhere. It happens all the time. Yeah, I like that too, Spiky. That like Demeter's winter is like a nuclear winter or something. Greek pantheon is a real thing in Hosmer canon. It's kind of cool. Reminds me of Dragon. Like a dragon, or like a guy named Dragon, a robot named Dragon? Ryoma's battle instinct has been steadily growing stronger with each passing day. You reacted to me, didn't you? Heh, I like you. From now on, you're my new partner. Your name is Shin Getter Dragon. Getter is I can't take that seriously. It probably sounds cool as hell in Japanese, but it's like one who gets things, right? Like go-getter, I guess. There's a couple funny names like that in this. Getter and I are bursting with fighting spirit. Shin Getter Dragon. Right. What's this guy's deal? This is a pretty cool looking demon robot. Even in a little chibi design. Run away, it's the correct thing to do, it seems like. And we have these like rat robots? What the fuck are these things? Oh, well, that's pretty sweet looking. I like that. That stands out from a lot of the random monster mechs we've fought. Turn on the animation for this. Take every 80s stereotype. The machines are powered by being hot-blooded. Like the Foreigner song? Metal Beast. Spiral energy, okay. I know that this whole playthrough has just been me talking shit about giant robots, but honestly, it's just ignorance for my part. I've never consumed any of the media, so it's interesting to hear about how there's actually this stuff going on that isn't really presented in Super Robot Wars, because it was established in a prior game, presumably. I still haven't come up with another like media genre that I feel like is even kind of comparable to the dominance of robot fiction, right? Like it seems like it should be insanely niche, but there's so much media for it. I guess I'm like fighting anthropomorphic animals, like all the attempts to capitalize on the success of like Ninja Turtles, but that didn't have any staying power, right? It lasted. We had like biker mice from Mars and sewer sharks or street sharks or whatever, and it lasted like 10 years, and then Ninja Turtles was the only one that really survived. Interesting. You see Sonic is like in the tradition of Ninja Turtles. I've never made that connection in my mind. I don't completely disagree. Like they did the whole thing on the cartoon where Jaleel White wanted to eat chili dogs, right? Like that was a note from the studio. Like the turtles like pizza, so they have to. There's got to be a thing that they want. I guess maybe cartoon platformer? I'm not talking specifically about video games or TV shows. I'm talking just like anything, like a media genre that's like has staying power. But even then, like these days, I feel like if you get a new cute platformer, it's like immediately nostalgic. If it's something like A Hat in Time, I guess. They don't really make those anymore either. They lasted quite a bit longer. That was like, you know, maybe 20 years instead of 10 years. But I guess even that feels like pragmatic, I guess. So I don't think, based on my experience with this and what y'all are telling me, it doesn't seem like giant robot fiction is like popular because everyone's trying to recreate the big exciting thing like it was with, you know, Biker Mice from Mars and Ninja Turtles and Street Sharks and all that shit, right? Like that was kind of a cynical attempt to clone something that was already popular. And so it couldn't possibly last, right? But that's not the case with giant robots. Like, they're still popular after all these years. Souls-like, that's interesting. That's very interesting. You mean, like, specifically the kind of Souls-like that adopts the stuff that's not as necessary to adopt, like a decaying world, right? For ancient lords, sometimes literally souls. Yeah, that is really specific, isn't it? Well, I don't think that, like, anthropomorphic fighting animal teams failed because there wasn't any value in the concept or something, or that, like, audiences got savvy and realized that they were being duped. Like, I guess not having seen any of the shows being referenced in this game, I have to assume that they're of comparable quality to like a Biker Mice from Mars on average. There might be something like really amazing like the 90s Ninja Turtles movie, the original comic here and there, but on average each of these shows is fun like Biker Mice from Mars and good, maybe even great in some cases. But my question is, like, why did this stick around for coming on 40, almost 50 years in some cases, right? Like some of these properties are early 80s, maybe even like 70s. Yeah. 70s, yeah. It's nuts. 50 years. Never seen him like this. It's like a demon man. Let's see. Wow, I'm surprised that like the remote control slash the drone stuff was first, and then the idea of actually let's put a person in there came second. It's obviously more exciting, but you think it being remote controlled is like almost more modern. Different dissonance between target demographic versus how they were delivered. That makes sense. Right. Super metal enemy death explosion, I know, right? This is, it's always interesting to play this game. Thanks for keeping this on your sub block and having it on the voting system, Mega Man. It's like, it feels like doing archaeology for a civilization that's not dead. Like there's still tons of Super Robot fans. And just because it's very unusual for me to have like a big piece of media like this that's like an absolute blind spot that I can't really say that just, you know, I have passing familiarity with any of this other than I guess Gundam. But even Gundam, my passing familiarity is, oh, it's like robots. There's like guys in the robots and they're in space or something, I don't know. They fight. Some of them have swords, some of them have guns. But like, what if like a civilization, you know, 700 years from now unearthed like a treasure trove of like all they knew about a society was all of the Super Robot Wars content that they consumed. What would they try to infer? The true power of great. That's an excellent line. I really like that enemy taking damage animation. I guess it's like a static sprite that they're shaking around. It looks cool. It's probably my favorite enemy robot in the game up to this point. It really, really looks weird compared to everything else. Phantom Ring Plus. The goop flying out when they die. It's great. Grid Caliber End. Was Caliber still like hanging out in his living room or something doing all this? My main takeaway from this is that I feel like I should watch Gridman because I like Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad. And I love the idea of like there being a Japanese adaptation of that. Like that's so fucking weird. Because like that show was basically a ripoff of Power Rangers, and Power Rangers was already using Japanese footage of a completely different show and splicing it in with like kids in high school. Kids, I mean like 30-year-old adults posing as kids. So it's a pretty fun little like nested chain of influences there. That was a cool looking robot. Much room for that axe in his shoulder. I like his music too. Ultraman. Make up for the sluggishness with my skill, he says. Turn the animations off again. Try to finish this battle. Get him. That's really funny. It's like Tomb Raider 2013. Netflix Ultraman? Interesting. Can't stop my blood from boiling. Is it because of Go, the monsters, or Shin Getter Dragon? Cannot take the name Getter seriously. Big hit, but not big enough. That was nice. I think it was almost dead. I feel like I've seen some Ultraman when I was a kid. I don't remember how or why. Probably gonna wrap here before killing the last enemy because the cutscenes can often last quite a while. Doesn't necessarily take you straight into the menu to save. All right, Future Marstead, you are at the end of this level. Pretty much just have to shoot this last robot, assuming nothing else spawns in. This is your new guy. You want to get the lab level 3 upgrade before you do anything else, because once you buy that, you can start buying more things that make it cheaper to upgrade individual robots, and then keep leveling up Shadow Maru, because he is ridiculous. He like basically can't be hit. His evasion rate is insane.